You are looking live at a weekly chart of the Nasdaq, and I wanted to start with the weekly chart because last week the Nasdaq had its worst week since January of 2022. You could see last week it was down 5.77%. And I wanted to go back to 2022 in January and just show that it was down 7.5%. So it's been all this time where the Nasdaq had a week of 5.77% or greater. And so it had a sell-off prior. This is the August 5th, where it made that low on the yin carry trade that Monday, but it closed near the high. Last week it closed near the lows, and people were having a hard time with the jobs data number. But you could see this week the low is above last week's low, and now the high is above last week's high. 17,605. Last week was 17,585. Is that significant? Well, I think so. What's more significant is that the Nasdaq now on the daily, it was up 1% today. Closed above its 50 simple moving average, 174 points, 1%. Volume a little lighter than yesterday, so no follow through day, but closed at 17,569. So here's your August 5th sell-off. We had a rally up and then sold off again hard on Friday. This Friday was especially rough after the jobs number. Now it's up every day this week. And if I go to the weekly, it's up 5.27%. What did I say was down last week? 5.77. So pretty much got everything back from last week's brutal sell-off. So all is good. We did not have a follow-through day today. Essentially, yesterday was our follow-through day with the big move higher, 2.17% with volume. But now, maybe more significantly is that it's trading above its 50 simple moving average. I want to go to the IWM because this was the leader today. It was up 1.29%. But it is bumping its head against its 50. It's still, 0.7% below the 50. So it has work to do to get above the 50. I'm going to get to some of those little small cap stocks that are some of the top holdings in the IWM that are doing well. But I'm going to get to the SPY. SPY now is above its 50, still consolidating in this base though, but now 1.7% above its 50. And the Dow Jones Industrial DIA is the stronger of the indexes because it's 2.1% above its 50, but still consolidating in a base. And if I go to the weekly chart, you can see it's 1.1% off its high. So very strong index. And then the MDY, the mid-cap stock, still below the 50. So this one's lagging as well, 0.4% below. So lots of changes in the market. Information's comes at us fast. The rotation is coming at us super fast. And you just got to you got to be flexible and you got to be open-minded, because what was working last week might not be working this week. As I talked about the financial stocks selling off and the insurance and the utilities and those value stocks, and now we're rotating into more tech, which is, where I like to play. Anyway, I did mention some, first of all, I'm going to go to some of the Russell stocks, because that was the winner today. And this is FTAI, and defense stock. It's 12 billion market cap. It was up 4.5% today. Sprouts Farmers Market is another one that's one of those leading stocks in the IWM. It's got a 10 billion market cap, and you can see it's just kind of forming this shelf here. That looks pretty good with the 103.80 trigger for Sprouts Farmers Market. ENSG, this is one of those medical managed care stocks, with the assisted living facilities, and this one is performing really well also, just trending with its moving average. That's just some of the top holdings in the IWM. I don't want to go through all of them. I do want to take a look at some of the leading stocks in the Nasdaq, because when the Nasdaq is strong like it was this week, stocks like NVIDIA are going to be driving it higher. We see NVIDIA drove right through its 50 simple moving average today, closed 1.2% above that level. And the CEO is saying that, there's such robust demand for his new product, Blackwell, that they just cannot get it to all their customers, and their customers are getting frustrated. They want their Blackwell. but it's up nearly 16% for the week. So that's a hell of a move for a, 2 point, whatever it is, $9 billion stock now. So call it $3 trillion stock. Yeah, what'd I say? 2.9, yeah, $2.9 trillion stock, call it 3 trillion. This thing's, 16%, that's a heck of a week. Apple doing absolutely nothing. Looks like it's going to get rejected here at the 50. It's got to blow through there. It has work to do. So, yeah, same with Microsoft. It traded up to the 50. Now it will close a tick above it. So it's got to rally through there. But I mean, if you're a long-term holder in Microsoft, this is just a blip on the radar. You can see this 5 weeks of selling here. There's your August 5th capitulation selling, and now it's just kind of gone flat. You can see it's just consolidating within a base, and it just depends on your time frames. Microsoft, you're a long-term holder. You've seen these, sell-offs over time before. It's not going to phase these, long-term holders in Microsoft. They're just, this is one of there's your bear market. There's a three-month little sell-off, but had a 2-month recently. You can see it's just kind of trading flat sideways for the last 6 months or so, which is fine. Microsoft looks fine. Okay, Apple, NVIDIA. Okay, Tesla is one that is kind of struggling here. It's just forming this little base consolidation period. You can see that 228 would be definitely an area of interest for me if it got above that area, which it is right now, closed at 229. So yeah, that would be a trigger point for me right there. Tesla. Tomorrow's Friday. I don't know if I'll put it on the list, but yeah, above there, I kind of like Tesla. The other one was Amazon. Amazon is cooking. I mentioned it yesterday, that 182.38, area above the 50 looked nice, and it closed above it yesterday and followed through today, 1.34%. So Amazon looks fantastic. Okay, Meta. Did I do Meta? No, Google, Meta, Tesla, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the 500 is the magic number for Meta. It just, it's just stuck at 500. The teeter-totter up a little bit and below it a little bit, right? It goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes below it, then it goes above it, then it goes below it. So it's just having trouble. This 500 number is like a magnet for like 6 months. So it's got to break that spell. And we have earnings coming up here pretty soon. Next month we're going to have earnings. So I think they're going to be pretty strong for these mega cap tech stocks. Anyway, that's it for those stocks. I want to get to some of the other stocks that are kind of showing signs of leadership. I mentioned how the rotation now is flowing out from some of those other defensive and value names into these growth names. This is Vertiv Holdings. This ran for like 8 months without a base. And I like stocks near bases. It had this base here, I traded from 43 to 34 and then just took off back to 41, all the way up to 109, right? There's no base in here at all. It's just trending with its moving averages. Little pullback here, but that's not a base. Now it's formed this base. You could even say this is, I don't know, you'd call that a double bottom, I guess. It looks like it might want to be, but it's just a base. And now for me, the way I like to trade is it's above its 50. It traded below the 200. It rallied through its 50 yesterday. And now, took off today. And what it did yesterday was it traded above its downtrend line. Okay, it hits this downtrend line like 4 or 5 times here and closed above it on Wednesday. And today followed through 5%. I did put that one on the ready list at MC Stock Charts. And I think this is just, winner in that data center electrical power equipment stock. It's not the only one. There's a lot of them in this group that I like. The power plays, the cooling, plays. This is POWL Industries, no relation to Jerome Powell, I don't think. It undercut its 50 here last week, and this week it's been up every day this week. Just a powerhouse. Yeah, up 11% this week. I think we'll take that. You can see the base on base consolidation pattern, and now it's moving higher. So that's POWL, Powell. VST is another one of these energy plays. They're going to power the data centers. This one is not quite traded above its downtrending line. I like it above 82, 88. We'll call it 83, and it couldn't do that today. I kind of like it above that old 82, 88 number. It's got to prove itself, and it hasn't done that yet. STRL is another one that I like. Trying to trade above its downtrending line here. Once again, I guess you could call it 1, 2, 3. So if it powers higher tomorrow, I like that above the old 124.50. You know, it's well above its you know, it undercut its 50, traded down to the 200. Now it's rallied back through its 50. So this one's showing strength. But if you're looking at it from, you know, a longer term, you know, situation, you could just say this is in a little one of these Darvis boxes, a consolidation box. So it needs to break out of that box to really you know, power higher and have blue skies. But I do like that one. And then Quanta Services, another one of these building heavy constructions. Ooh, these green charts, creepy. Another one that has this double bottom type look to it, you know, where it made this low of 245, ran up to 270, made a low of 227, and then rallied back up, still consolidating within this, you know, longer term consolidation. I wouldn't wait to 266 though. I mean, 286 to buy. I think that 270 area, 271, 270, and it's right there. You know, it's above its 50. I think that's actionable right there. Another one that could show up on our ready list. Another one of these power plays is a Constellation. Once again, they all look pretty similar, trying to break through this little downtrending line, right? And it still has some work to do, but it did trade down to its 200. Today closed right at its 50, at least last time I looked at it. Yeah, right at its 50. And so it needs to power through that level. And I would say, I don't know, let's take a look at the weekly here. You can see this consolidation pattern. If it could get above 199, let's just call it 200, I would be more inclined. I would like it a little better if it could show strength above 199.11. I'll just call it 200. So a lot of stocks are looking better. A lot of the names that you know, I like to trade in. INSG is a telecom infrastructure stock, and this one consolidated in a base and made a new high today. That one looks fantastic. We'll take a 10% move, right? Up 25% this week. You can see this. Yeah, I mean, 25%, that's definitely a character change, right? Breaking out of a base and moving higher. And that's what we're seeing, this rotation out of value into more growthier names or more, you know, risk. There's more risky plays. Anyway, I got to move on to the medical research, medical equipment stocks. NTRA is one that I like a lot. You know, we're discussing today, like, it's extended, you can't chase it, because people know I hate chasing performance. You know, it's 4.7% above its 10. Maybe it's just going to be comfortable trading that way, though. The old buy point there was 117.23, so you're paying up for this. You could probably say that 124.83 is another area of interest, though. I don't know. If you like to buy the growth and Wall Street's going to start rewarding growth again, I think this stock goes a lot higher. But that's just me. I'm just noticing strength here, okay? I'm not saying go out and buy it right away, but TMDX, this one sold off hard. This looks like a little fish hook here, where it sold off, looked like it was going to come down to the 200, and then it did the U-turn. You know, the old okey doke, like, see you later, right? It just fooled you. Now it's up, you know, nearly 7% this week. So the group is strong. 17 out of 197. ISRG is my favorite in this group because it's a little well, this is medical systems equipment, okay. But it's one of the stronger stocks. It's one of the leading stocks here. And if you wanted to take a swing at it, I think that 493.97, or call it 494, where it closed, I think that's an area of interest if it could trade above that, especially if you get some volume on it. Intuitive Surgical is just a monster. The Da Vinci machines are just killer. I got to go back to TMDX because that group was 17. And see what else was in this group here. Oh yeah, SLNO is another one that has been, oh, I think they might have got bought out, right? Medical products. No, it's just trading sideways. This one's trading like it's getting bought out. I'm gonna have to do some more research on SLNO. But when I see you know, TMDX trading like that, I look for other stocks in the group. CDNA is another one. Looks like it pulled back here to a moving average. That looks like a nice bull wedge pattern there. Back to its 21. Now should blast higher back through 30. But TMDX in this group here, medical products, medical systems, definitely strong. Boston Scientific, another one that's in this group, making new highs. This one is 123 billion market cap, so it's a big kahuna. And you can see this one's just been on a run, on a roll. Has not really formed a base in a long, long time. So that would scare me to be buying it up there and chasing that. I like bases, as you know. And then Doximity, oops, DOCS. This is computer medical's software stock. Not a strong group, but this one is gapped higher following its earnings and then formed this little shelf type pattern, now making new highs. So I like new highs. Anyway, that's enough for the medical systems, medical. I want to get to the retail. Retail is an area that I like. I think it was getting short shrift there because the US economy's dying and the consumer's dead and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Shark Ninja just making new highs. Once again, broke out of a base, following its earnings report, formed a shelf. So this requires patience, holding through this 3-4 week period. And now, oops, all of a sudden it starts blasting higher, right? Making a new high today, closing at 101.80. You can see the big breakout there, the 3 or 4 weeks of sideways, and then, she's off to the races once again. So that does require some patience because you're just sitting there seeing your money doing nothing for 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, it was up 6% last week and 7.5% this week. Excuse me, 6.5% 2 weeks ago, and now 7.5% this week. So Shark Ninja, very strong. In the retail space, CAVA is another one of the leading restaurant stocks. This one gapped higher, and I was watching that 110. You can see the low of the gap is 110. And I was watching this thing, look at that every day, 110.87, 114. They tried to take it below 110, 110.34, 110.31. So that's kind of like your bottom there, that 110. They couldn't take it below. Shorts couldn't push it any lower, and what happens? It goes higher. If it couldn't push it lower, then it's going to find support at moving average and bounce higher. I still like this one. And I know it's extended away from that 6.2% above that 10, and it's probably going to, come back to that area, but eventually I believe it'll take out that 128.18 number. So that's one of the leading ones in this restaurant group. Shack pulled back to its 50 and bounce. That's a nice one of those little, bull wedge patterns here. Back to a moving average and now trading higher. Shake Shack is up by 9% this week. Thank you very much after, the sell-off last week. But still, within 10% of its all-time high. Pretty good looking chart for Shake Shack. ONON. This is one that I did have on my writing list today. Even though it had a big day yesterday and got a little bit above that 10, it's still, this thing's showing strength. So, and now today, making new highs. Yeah, it closed 2.5% above the 10 yesterday. And now today it closed 6.7% above. Nice, nearly 6% move. Wow, closed over 49. Good for On Holdings. There you can see it's up 10.3% this week. So that's pretty darn good. The Nasdaq up 5, On Holdings up 10. So 2 times the index. Not bad performance. MELI, this thing's just a monster. Once again, gapped higher after earnings and just went flat, formed a little shelf, allowed the moving averages to catch up, and then bounced off the 21 this week. And it's up 7, nearly 8% this week. I think we'll take that all day long. Another one that is doing well, and I've never been to one of these, Murphy USA. It's like a mini mart. I guess, it's got gas stations and they're near Walmart. But once again, you get this shelf pattern, playing a possum for a long, long time, just kind of going nowhere. And then finally this week decides to bounce off its 21. It's up, more than 5% this week. AXON, I'm calling this the Tyreek Hill trade. It gapped higher after earnings and pulled back. Another one of these like little wedge patterns. Back to the 21 now this week, just blasting higher. 8.4% move. That looks really nice on the weekly there. So you got to be patient. Stock's not going to go up every day or every week, and they just pull back to moving average and bounce. I think we'll all take 8.5% on the week. eBay is showing incredible strength. I guess people are back to eBay, selling stuff on eBay, or they never left. This one just continues to make new highs. So new highs and new higher highs, higher lows are bullish, right? That's the definition of a uptrend. It just keeps making these higher highs and higher lows. So just in a clear uptrend for eBay. I don't know what it's up this week, 6.7%. So outperforming the Nasdaq. Looks pretty good. And then AFRM, I just wanted to point out AFRM, buy now, pay later, or pay never. Another one of these wedge patterns where it just sells off. Light volume, sells off in light volume. And then now the last couple of sessions, above average daily volume for the week, up nearly 9%. So, I like that pattern as well. It's just still, if I go to the weekly, you can see it's still kind of just in this base here from way back. I don't know when this was, December of 2023. This is just kind of all one base for me, and it's got to break out of that old area before I get really excited about it. For what is that, 52? Yeah, 50. So it's getting there, but it has work to do. But a nice support at the moving average. Anyway, that's it for the retail. I got to get to the software names. App loving. Somebody's loving this thing. It was consolidating within a base. I had it on the ready list last week, or probably the last couple of weeks, but I just got impatient with it. Another one of these, wedge patterns here. These little bull wedges that pulled back to its 50 found support, and now this week it popped 24%. So the patience is rewarded. I wasn't patient enough with this one, so I took it off. I was a little conservative going into this weekend. Bam, that's what happens with App 11. What a move. So as the rotation, comes back towards maybe some tech stocks and some software and hardware names, the same old groups and stocks that were leading before might not be leading this time. Like SMCI was a leader earlier in the year when it was doing this, but we're not going to expect this thing to lead anymore. No, there's going to be other stocks that will lead. And same with App 11, which was a leader in the past, but maybe this thing's showing this time around it's going to really be one to be reckoned with. Same with Shark Ninja in the retail space, and CAVA and On Holdings and some of the ones that I just showed you in retail. ZETA, this one's flashing signs as well, just surfing its moving average. Every time it pulls back, it finds support. So you got to like that if you're a longer term holder. Every time it comes back to this pink line, it pops higher. So that's a good sign. ZETA. ServiceNow, another one. This has been a leader for a long, long time. And if it wants to make new highs, I think we like new highs, right? Yeah, today it's 1% above. It's off its 52-week high. So it's making new highs, up $61 this week, or 7.5%. Very nice week for ServiceNow. MNDY, they reported strong quarters and have been rewarded. Once again, this should be looking familiar this week, where we sold off, last week, made this bull wedge pattern back to moving average, finding support, and now popping up 7.5% this week. So, the software names have been kind of out of it. Now we're starting to see these green shoots, and I have more on this later on, but I'm going to move on from the software names to some of the miners. And, I'm not a real big miner fan, but I noticed the commodities in the, I post them every morning. And the oil and gas have been struggling. They're at, lows, and copper, gold, and silver have been perking up lately. This looks to me like, SCCO's kind of hit a bottom there at 880, and now it's driving through its 200. So this is an area of interest for me if it could drive through that. The 50, Freeport McMoran, same thing. As copper play along with the Southern Copper, right? Copper, silver, gold, blah, blah, blah. The other one I like in this group is, there's a couple of them. AGI is one. And this one, you know, same pattern that we saw with some of those other retail and software names where we have this like bull wedge pattern, pulls back to moving average, blast higher, and then ego. I like ego, EGO. Same type of pattern, right? It forms this little wedge, pulls back to moving average, forms a little wedge, then pops higher, right? So yeah, that's a nice little pattern for ego. And then gato. I used to live in El Gato, Los Gatos. So gato silver, nice move today. Yeah, 12%. Thank you very much. Breaking out of this cup with handle pattern. Did I have that on my ready list today? No, I didn't. But it's definitely 27% this week. So I just wanted to recognize that some of these commodity plays are showing strength. So I'm not just tied to hardware and software and NVIDIA. I like drugs too. Novo yesterday came out with this data for their pill for weight loss drug, very effective. Not the CEO, one of their executives said that they could bypass a phase 3 trial. The data was so good on phase 2 that they could bypass phase 3 and might go straight to the FDA and take it to market. But I think NVO is playing the long game. They just want their Catalent deal approved so they can get their manufacturing going. And that's a 2026, 2027 story. So they're playing the long game, and you can see over time, this is just one to park, in your retirement. Same with Eli Lilly, just long term. These things are going to fluctuate week to week, month to month, but over the long term, they have this one really has a huge catalog, big portfolio, nice pipeline. This one, to me, technically, this looks like a cup with a handle to me. Pull back to the 50, squatted here for a couple days. Now the last couple days starting to drive higher through its moving averages. So I like Lilly right here. I should put that on my ready list for tomorrow. Doesn't really show up on pattern rec, but you can see support at those moving averages there. Just this stock is going to be supported. It's too good. It's got too good a growth profile. And of course, Viking, speculative play, but it held up pretty well during the sell-off too. Kind of has that same wedge look, on the sell-off, now driving through its moving averages. So pretty similar. What else do I have? Oh, INSM. This is another one of those small cap stocks, 12 billion in the Russell 2000. So holding up well. I kind of like that one. And then DNLI, Denali Therapeutics, 4 billion market cap stock, making new 52-week highs today. So you got to like that, up 10.7% this week. Denali, just noting strength in the biotechs. A couple other random names. I had Netgear in our moving stocks this morning. It was moving nicely, and that's a move not to be ignored. Dan up 31% with massive volume, 1,500% above average daily volume. Look at that. That is a breakout from a stage 1 base. So definitely, oh, wait a minute. Short interest here, 44%. So shorts are going to have to cover. Looks like they were doing a little bit of that today for sure. And the other one is MMYT, which is that Indian online booking stock, kind of like booking.com or Expedia. And this one made a nice move today, made a new high above that 101.22, 101.50 area. That's definitely an area of interest, right? Those old highs, and it closed right at that level. So that could show up on our ready list pretty quick as it breaks out of this, what you'd call a Darvis box there. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Today is Thursday, September 12th. And that's all I have, except for I lie. I have one more thing. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, who always had one more thing. Adobe reported tonight. Adobe reported a beat on the top and bottom line. They beat EPS, they beat sales. Their problem was guidance. They sandbag guidance once again. They do this. A lot of companies do this, think they're fooling Wall Street so they could beat the numbers next time. But a nice nearly 10% haircut after hours. So that's going to hurt the software group tomorrow. I would think this is a pretty big 260 billion market cap stock. So that might hurt, but I have some news elsewhere. RH up 20% after hours. I did not see their report, but if it could break above this downtrend line, like it looks like it's going to tomorrow, I think that would be an area of interest around that 300 level. 285 is going to blast right through there tomorrow. So that's one that I will be watching tomorrow on a Friday. So we'll see what happens with RH. And the last thing that I wanted to point out was Oracle. After the bell today, they just reported earnings on what, Monday, and blasted higher, right? Now today they were at a conference. I guess, I don't know, it was an investor day or something, but one of their executives said they expected 66 billion in revenue by 2026, and by 2029 over 100 billion revenue by 2029, I think it was. Anyway, they're expecting like 20% sales growth in the next 5 years. So that's got this thing cooking after hours. So that could offset some of the weakness from Adobe. This is a much bigger stock than Adobe, 444 billion, and this thing's up, over 5% after hours. This is a hell of a week for Oracle. So they're piling on as they break out. This is why we, monitor these breakouts above bases, right? Sometimes they just keep moving, big moves begin with small moves out of bases. So that, I would say that's a big move out of that base. Oracle will be one to watch tomorrow. Anyway, I'll have more information in the morning on some of these names. And at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up, ever. Thank you for watching.